taking the package.
Hello, this is Ron Muhich from Wheaton Warrenville South High School. We want to do a test to make sure that our webinar is working. Hang with us for a second while we do that, please. Testing.
I want to see where it shows people that are.
Let me a minute delay, so why don't you start your presentation?
Start talking?
In a minute or two is not working.
Well, let's show a list of who we have on here so we make sure we have.
It should.
Where is that at?
It's over here on the right.
But it'll tell you how many people are watching. I'm not sure.
I see Dennis Piron is on. Hi, Dennis. We'd like to welcome you to the Red Grange Classic Events webinar. I know some people are going to have called about looking at this presentation later this evening because they had some conflicts at 7, and that should work for you. So hopefully we'd like to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We have some people in the room at Wheaton Warrenville South, and I'd like to thank Chris Kuko, our IT department person who is responsible for setting this up. And Kevin Sanders is also here representing the National 7-on-7 Select representative. Notice that on the right-hand side of the screen we have a place for questions, and you should be able to type in questions as we go through the presentation. This presentation was set up for officials for the tournament this coming weekend, and also head coaches. So hopefully we have a good representative of those people that have maybe a first-time event participant as a coach or as an official. All right, you should be able to see on the screen the Red Grange Classic packet that we've sent to you, and the cover page. And I'm going to talk through just a couple of logistics so that everybody remembers these items as you attend and come to the events this Thursday and Friday. First of all, every team must register your school and your participants at the site that we gave you on the turningmachine.com. And Kevin Sanders will talk about that a little bit later in the presentation to try to shorten that up. I know all football coaches live weekend to weekend at this point in time in the summer, and you're not trying to get too far out on the advanced part of this. We'd like to make sure that each participant that you bring, coaches, must come on Thursday to your off-site at Naperville North, Naperville Central, Wheaton North, and or Wheaton Warrenville South, depending on the site that you've been assigned in your 8-team pool, that you bring a completed medical form, which is for our athletic trainers assigned to the tournament, as well as a player release form in which National Select needs as a waiver form for the program. When it comes to the linemen, we would just need the lineman to sign off on a medical form that we've given you as a head coach. That must come with them on Friday. Again, for medical purposes, to have clearance for our trainers to do some screening on kids prior to the lineman events. All 7-on-7 participants going to Wheaton North on Friday for the sophomore events, the 7-on-7, as well as the lineman challenge up at Wheaton North on Friday. You would need to bring also your medical forms on that day. So again, medical forms. The 8 pools take their medical forms to the site directly on Thursday for the varsity. And then all other medical forms must come on Friday to the events at Wheaton North. And then the lineman challenge at Wheaton South. All 7-on-7 participants must wear a helmet and a mouthpiece. We'll make sure that we do our best to keep everybody safe with concussions, and the mouthpiece is a real important addition to make sure that you bring. Officials should check your assignments that we've given you online for your Thursday. You will report directly Thursday to your game sites at either Naperville Central, Naperville North, Wheaton North, or Wheaton South. Friday game locations have also been assigned to you in groups and that has been attached and directed to you as well. Just to recap, Thursday, 4 sites, pool play. You'll play 5 games. Report directly to those assigned sites at 8 a.m. Coaches, you need to register with the athletic trainers at that site and with the site field managers as you arrive. Friday's events, lineman challenges, varsity reports directly to Wheaton Warrenville South, and the sophomores report directly to Wheaton North. The 7-on-7 tournaments on Friday, the double elimination tournament for varsity reports directly to Wheaton Warrenville South after the pool play on Thursday, and sophomore will have a pool play in the morning at Wheaton North and then a single elimination tournament in the afternoon. Okay, at this time I would like to go through the packet if it's working. Chris, are we getting video? Okay. If you look at the packet that we've sent you, just for logistics, a couple of things. When you come to Wheaton Warrenville South, if you're in Pool A, last year, if you remember, we had our field torn up and we were putting the new turf down. This year, actually, the parking lot in the back is being torn up. So this parking lot right down here is off limits, and we want to make sure that we're going to have a kind of a road block right across here. There's a gate that we pull down, and we've asked that all of you park up in this area up in here with your cars up in the north adjacent to the baseball field. The entrance to the tournament would then come through here, right between the practice fields, before the stadium. There'll be a tournament table right here at the middle that every team would bring your registrations to if you're coming to Wheaton Warrenville South. If you're going to Naperville Central, Naperville North, and Wheaton North, you'll take your registration medical forms directly to the athletic trainer table at those sites. We'll have some tables set up, guys, for Gatorade. Gatorade is a major sponsor to the tournament and has provided all 4 off-sites product, both with Prime and actual drink Gatorade during the contest mix, and then also they will have the protein bars at the end of the contest as well for the kids. So we'd like to thank Gatorade for their generous sponsorship of this event and shipping all that product to 4 different sites, which I'm sure was not an easy task for them. We have Naperville Central Mike Stein here tonight with us in the room, and as well as Sean Grendel from Naperville North, and Joe is not able to be with us right now, but he will be getting product as well if it hasn't arrived up at Wheaton North. We have 4 trainers that have been assigned from OAD, generous donation and sponsorship from OAD, and they'll be here on site at the 4 off sites and then back to the tournament at North and South on Friday. Okay, just a couple of references that we'll talk about. Not yet. Game fields. You know, the whole idea was that we actually stumbled onto this last year due to weather, that turf fields in pool play was the way to go. So Mike, Sean, myself, and Joe volunteered to host this event on pool play for Thursday to give us fields that would be on turf. So, you know, in the way the weather's going here, we now know what it's like to live in Seattle. But we have definitely going to play through rain, lightning, and thunder. The officials would be responsible for protocol for the wait times that might happen on Thursday. But as of right now, we're hoping that 30% represents the forecast properly. And we would ask that each school and all officials report to the sites for pool play on Thursday at 8 a.m. Game times will start promptly at 9. Notice that just a couple things about the fields. The game field, this is Wheaton Warrenville South's game field right here. So we'll play in opposite directions on all these fields. And then when you come to South on Friday, you'll see field 5 is over here. Field 6 and 7 will be in the outfield of the baseball field, which is new for us. Last year, we did not use that site. There's a gate that entrance over to the field by the tennis courts. And, you know, I would like to thank our custodial staff for setting up all this. It's not an easy thing in the summer to line all these fields. And they did a great job in and amongst the rain days here to get this organized. So, 8 fields on Friday for the varsity tournament. When you come for your meetings, just a couple of things for us. You'll be able to report directly to the stadiums at Naperville North, Naperville Central, Wheaton North, and Wheaton South on your assignments. But on Friday, we'd like everybody to meet in the field house. We have a Gatorade presentation that's required of us to give due diligence to the sponsorship of Gatorade, talk about a little bit about their product and so forth. And I'd like everybody in that field house sitting by teams, and we're going to take a photo of every team as they come in at 8 o'clock and try to capture the kids before the competition actually starts. We'd ask that on Thursday, for people that are coming to register their athletes with the medical forms, you guys come in and go to P167, which is where you did last year. And then entrance for door events, again, this is our fitness center right here. Enter door 40. And for the linemen, you're going to register your lineman check-in at 165 right over here. So line coaches, head coaches, tell your line coaches, enter door 40, go to P165 for the lineman check-in. And reminder, again, head coaches, they must fill out a medical release form on Friday to attend the lineman. We can't assume that linemen don't have to be medically screened. Okay? All right, team room. Coaches will meet in the team room and have a little bit of a, that's where you get your freebies. So our sponsorships have a bag, again, ready for each team that's participating. And we'd like you to come, again, park out here in this northwest parking lot here. Our stadium would be located back in here. And we'll have the barricade, again, across right about there. Nobody will be able to get back in that parking lot because it's torn up. All right. Team room, head coaches meeting as close to 8 a.m. as we can. All participants report to the field house. And on Thursday, Wheaton South's pool play, my parents and trainer is going to meet you in P167. All right, here are our pools, in case you haven't seen them yet as an official group. You notice that Pool A is meeting at Wheaton Warrenville South, and you've been assigned there as an official according to the schedule that was given to me by Bill Lottie. And we have a pool of 8 schools being hosted by Naperville Central in this pool. A pool C hosted by Sean at Naperville North. And then if your school's name appears in Pool D, you will meet on Thursday up at Wheaton North for your pool play. Again, coaches, just a couple of reminders. This is an elite tournament. It is a competitive tournament. And if you've not played in one of those before, it will be officiated by 3 officials per game. And it will be a maximum of 30 participants in the 7-on-7 events. So basically that comes down to 15 on offense or 15 on defense, or however you cut that up. Again, coaches, when you bring the medical forms at 8 o'clock on Thursday, the officials will be meeting with the field manager, going over just a few scoring recaps. then one of your assistants should be absolutely getting your team warmed up properly and ready to go. And so we can start in that first round at 9:30. I'm sorry, 9 o'clock. Each team's going to play 5 pool play games. You will not play everybody in the pool, but you will play 5 of those, and anybody that's played on a weekend, that's about enough games to get your kids tired, and they'll come back well rested. We should be done here by, at the latest, 2 o'clock at the 4 pool sites on Thursday. Okay, I've mentioned parking. We talked about the entrances. We want to get a team photo, again, in the field house at the beginning on Friday for everybody. Coaches, make sure you come to the team room so that we can get your sponsorship packet together for you as well. Gatorade will have a presentation about 8:15, and we'll go over some basic introductions and thanks to the sponsorships at that time. Just a couple of reminders for all you guys that have been here before. These team tents are real important. Wheaton Warrenville South doesn't have a whole lot of shade, so if you bring a tent, set up your tents on the perimeter of the fields, on the outside along the fences, and it should be beneficial for you to get away from the sun a little bit. We will have food sold on Thursday at all 4 sites. So coaches, you don't need to worry about going out and getting food or your parents going out and bringing food. If you want to, April Central and April North, Wheaton North, and Wheaton South will be selling food for that Thursday's events on the pool play. Gatorade will be provided. And Wheaton North will be selling food and concessions on Friday for the sophomore teams and the Lineman Challenge up at Wheaton North, as well as my parent group will be selling food at Wheaton South. My parents and I know Joe's are well organized to do that, and I want to thank our parent groups, by the way. I know some of them are online watching this as well. They've done a really good job of organizing the manpower to make this a successful 2 days for us. Just a couple of reminders. The heat emergencies that we should be concerned about. Plan on bringing 2 sets of common shirts or socks for the day, especially on that Friday if you play well into the day. There will be an emergency mobile unit from National Guard provided to us. We will have some cooling, hydration areas for the kids, cooling tubs in case of emergency, and athletic trainers will be provided on both days. Okay, just a quick list of our sponsorship. A lot of people have provided not only assistance, but also the IHSA has provided our officials for this event as well. Here are our teams, and we have expanded this event 8 teams over the last 3 years, and I'll be honest with you, we've had to turn away about 8 additional teams that wanted to come to this event. So as we look to the future, for you guys that are coming for the first time, we hope you enjoy the event. It is a different event of 7-on-7, and we want you to make sure that you understand that it's an event that in the future will be on the same dates, the Thursday and Friday just before that 4th of July week in the future. Okay, we're at this meeting right now tonight. On Friday, that's kind of the timeline that's in the program just to help you organize yourself as you get in the bus and start to head towards the locations. Okay. Now, we got another field example here because I'm going to start with the rules. Before I do, we'll make sure that we cover anything that Kevin thinks that's necessary for the event on behalf of National 7-on-7.
The first thing, there's two really supportive groups of sponsors that weren't listed on there, and that's my bad. But NCSA, who I think a lot of you guys are familiar with, is a big supporter of us nationally. They're going to be here. We went through a trial last year in getting the kids verified ID'd. They're going to do it again this year. We're going to take just a few minutes to talk to the coaches, not the players and everything like we did last year. We're not going to do that. That was pretty time consuming. It was great, but we're trying to make this as smooth as possible and improve it every year. NCSA will talk to the coaches for 10, 15 minutes on Friday morning. They will have a verified ID set up that was in the field house last year for you guys that were here. We're going to set it up outside so you don't have to travel your kids into the field house when they need to do that. But we'll give you a scheduled time for you to take your individual team during an off game to run through the verified ID. The teams that are here on Thursday at Wheaton South will run their kids through that day. The teams that are at the other three venues, you will be assigned a certain time on Friday to take your team to that tent and just have them run through that. The other gentleman that I'll speak is from USA Football. They're not a governing body, but they are a great partner of the NFL and help them distinguish rules and the way to run football in the United States. So we wanted to introduce you to him. They're going to have a representative here, and really he's here to witness what they've given us. The feedback is one of the better tournaments and organized tournaments in the country, as everybody in the U.S. tries to put their hands around what 7-on-7 means in the summer and the best ways to make it beneficial for everybody. I think his one is to go around throughout Friday and just kind of talk to coaches when you're not playing and say, hey, what do you get out of it? How do you find it most beneficial? Just to give him an idea of what your benefits that you see out of doing this with your kids on a regular basis. So that's all I have right now with that.
Okay. Okay, we're going to start working through the rules, and if you have a question that comes up as an official, I believe that you have access to type in over on the right-hand side here a question. Feel free to do so, and then it might be a common question that is being asked by somebody else, and we'll try to cover all of those at the end of the rules and turf here so that we can get through this as quickly as possible. All right. Field length. The fields, as we talked about, you're going to go in opposite directions, and if you look down here on the screen, I've got the red dots. You're going to start at the 45, and the ball officials always starts on the 45-yard line on the right hash. Okay, it starts on the right hash with two fields going in opposite direction. That way it's a safe starting point. Just be concerned about rolling out to your left. If both quarterbacks roll to the left, that could be, a little bit of a problem. But as you manage, a couple of things that I would encourage you for location of officials. There's going to be an official that's the person that's actually keeping the 4-second clock. That person would be located right here behind this quarterback and will give a verbal 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 count. I've had this done several ways in 7-on-7. Some people keep a stopwatch, and whatever the stopwatch says, as the ball's released, the ball either is continued as a live play or it comes back to the starting point. If you as an official are going to bring a stopwatch and you're going to use it that way, that's okay. That's written in the rules that you can do so. If you're not a guy that's going to be keeping the time on a stopwatch, then you must give a verbal and a visual count with your hand from behind the quarterback so all the fans and all the defenders can see you. That's real important. That person should be our head official of your crew. I would encourage someone to locate themselves over here on this side of the width of the field, kind of probably midpoint, and then another person on the line of scrimmage close to the boundary. And then as the play works, you have hopefully a triangle positioning to make your calls as the play and the spotting that's going to be necessary for getting the ball spotted if it ends up on this hash mark or it ends up on this hash mark. Okay, again, the zones. The zones are actually, let me get a little bit of this red out of here, are located at the 45, and a player or team offensively has 3 downs to get the ball across the 30-yard line or on the 30-yard line or past it. Okay? If they do not, then that's a stop by the defense. Okay? Just go back to the rules so I'm not talking out of line here. Okay, all players must wear helmets and mouthpieces. All players must be in distinctive school colors, coaches. All players must turn in their medical form. Okay, here's a key rule here on the.
You have numbered jerseys, that would be preferable, but they don't have to.
If you have numbered jerseys, that'd be great. We used to pass out cloth at this tournament, and its first inception, but it's getting more expensive as the teams grow in number. All right, here you go. 7 defenders and 6 offensive players. Coaches, you guys that run the 3-3 stack or the 4-4 concepts, you're going to have 7 defenders only out on the field. The offense can only have 6 offensive players, and you can use the center, or you can use another quarterback or a coach to snap the ball from the spot of the center snap. You cannot have an 8-man defensive look, 7 players on the field at a time. Center is not eligible to go out. Central timekeeper will be designated to start and end the games. We'll have 2 clocks on both fields, or 2 on each field, going in opposite directions. And it'll be independently, hopefully we start them at the same time for each game, but there could be some variances on when they end as we go through these rules, and we'll explain that. Again, every series is started on the right hash, the 45-yard line. The offense has 3 downs to make the 30, 3 downs to make the 15, and then once they get to the 15, they have 4 downs to score. So 3, 3, 4. Offenses can move, always move in the same direction towards the end zones. There is no kicking, no punting. There are no run plays. There are no double passes, officials, or shuffle passes forward behind the line of scrimmage. You can throw a key or a bubble, which is a forward pass behind the line of scrimmage. So a key and a bubble pass is an allowable pass, particularly out of shotgun. All passes should be designated by you to be interpreted as going forward from the quarterback to the receiver. Okay?
Is the shuffle question?
Yeah.
Is the shuffle when then an end would come behind the center and then get the ball like that behind the line of scrimmage?
Correct.
That's not allowed.
That's not allowed.
Bubble behind the line of scrimmage to the sidelines is allowed.
Correct.
As long as it's a forward pass.
Okay.
It can be caught behind the line of scrimmage as long as the pass was forward.
But a shuffle pass, which is a forward pass, we're going to try to clean that up and just say that that's not part of 7-on-7.
So not between the hashes? Is that seem reasonable for the shuffle pass? You know, try and give some area where it can't be
like a
thrown?
wide receiver.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're throwing it overhand forward,
Right.
that's considered to be a forward pass.
Understood, but we're talking about shuffle passes, right? And you want to keep it, I mean, I'm talking about designating an area that can't be thrown in to make it easier for the players and the officials. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we're saying here no shuffle passes.
Okay.
0. No shuffle passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
You're asking a wide receiver screen coming back.
Yes.
He's saying you
Okay, a
can't throw.
wide receiver screen. That's still an overhand pass. Okay.
Nothing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing
That's
underneath
easy.
or
If that's how we're
sideways.
going to define shuffle, that's easy.
Yeah, shuffle from the chest forward.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of a pass.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
I understand. You were interpreting or asking about a rocket screen or jailbreak screen. Yeah. Okay. Each field will have an independent clock, timer, and scorekeeper. Each coach must sign off at the end of the game with the head official to concur on the score of the game. And guys, the games are competitive. And we want you to have fun and be competitive, but we also want to control the game's temperament, make sure that teams show good sportsmanship. Coaches shake hands at the end of the game. Game lengths are going to be 21 minutes. We've cut that down 1 minute from last year. Okay? Each team will have 25 seconds to snap the ball once the head official has marked it to play. Delay of the game penalty would be a 5-yard penalty. Quarterback is allowed 4 seconds to throw the ball. The official starts a stopwatch on the snap of the ball from the center and stops the watch as soon as the quarterback releases the ball. If you're using a stopwatch, this is the protocol that you would follow. If released under 4 seconds, the play goes on. If it's released over 4 seconds, then there's a loss of down and a 5-yard penalty. This would represent a sack. If the timekeeper awaits until the play is over to see that the clock has exceeded 4 seconds, he brings the ball back to the original line of scrimmage with the loss of down plus 5-yard penalty marked off. The head official will be the timekeeper of the 3 officials. A muff snap is not a fumble. It's not a dead ball. Quarterback can pick it up and keep the play going. The 4-second count still remains in effect on the snap. Okay, any special rules that we would look at now for offense and defense? There's no blocking in a 7-on-7 tournament. The receiver of the ball carrier is legally down when touched below the neck with one or both hands. Excessive force by shoving, pushing, or striking a blow will be penalized by an automatic first down and a 5-yard penalty if the official deems it to be excessive. The expulsion of a player, if ruled unsportsmanlike and flagrant, would be for that game and that game only at that point. Basically, if your player loses his temperament, his cool, he needs to come out of the game for that 21 minutes and pick it up the next game. If we have an excessive amount of conduct by a certain player and that player is identified as a problem, we would ask that coach to eliminate that kid from his 30-man roster at that point, if it happens again. Defensive pass interference will be 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
From the previous spot?
Will be a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down from the previous spot. It's not a spot foul down the field. Okay? Offensive pass interference goes to the previous spot and it's a loss of down. If the offense is on the 45-yard line, it was the first play, the penalty is a loss of down. Still stays at the 45.
No yardage.
No yardage loss.
From the 45.
No, no yardage anywhere.
No, just the
If
45.
from the 45.
This doesn't, okay. If it's at the 45, we're not going to go further than the 45. If we're at the 30, it goes to the previous spot, loss of down, and the 5-yard penalty.
Previous spot and loss of down.
It says no yardage.
No yardage. Yeah. Okay? It's a loss of down.
You can't start behind. You can't have any penalty to take back behind the 45
I don't
yard.
understand that. I was saying at the 30. The
Right.
previous
Loss of
spot's the
down.
30.
There is
It's
no-
no.
It's just a loss.
It's a loss of
Loss
down.
of down, no yardage.
I understand. Just
Okay.
want to make sure there wasn't any other.
Okay, defensive holding, which is a little bit different than pass interference if you interpret it as kind of initial 5-yard penalty problem. Automatic first down from the line of scrimmage. Defense is responsible to avoid the contact as much as possible.
Hey, Ron, how is it going to be interpreted, a corner jamming a receiver leaving the line of scrimmage?
Okay, it's a good question. Having been a defensive coordinator for 22 years, we will allow some contact at the line of scrimmage. If it's deemed holding by the official, then that would be a penalty. Okay? But, you know, if you're going to play press man and that's your choice as a defensive coach, and you want to do that at the line of scrimmage and take that risk in that kind of a play, that's fine. I think the contact part of that would be up to the officials to determine if, in fact, it was holding or if it's just good defensive play. Okay, offensive illegal procedure penalty. Any kind of illegal motion or some kind of a forward motion, illegal offensive procedure would be a 5-yard penalty. Offensive team is responsible for retrieving and returning the ball. Coaches, for you guys that are first-timers, this is real important. 21 minutes is going to go by very fast. You're basically going to get 3 possessions if you're moving the ball, and every play counts. What's nice about the scoring of this event compared to the other tournaments that we go to, you get points for playing good defense. And if you stop a team, you're going to get 2 points on the scoring sheet for defense. And if you can try to keep this in mind, that it's the offensive receiver's job to go get the football if it's an incomplete pass. Clock will not stop in that first 20 minutes. It's going to run continuously. So teach your offensive personnel to go get their missed catches or tipped balls by the defense and bring it back as quickly as possible. I have seen some creative ways to get that done with the football. Okay? The snapper is not an eligible receiver. The ball must be snapped from the ground to start the play. Can be another offensive player or coach again. An assigned worker, one of my freshmen will be out there with a beanbag for you officials. Please bring the head official. Please bring a beanbag. That'll be your marking spot for where the ball was previously snapped. My freshman will be kneeling down right there. He'll be all those kids will be in a common colored shirt, and they will have the spot. And you tell them to come forward with the beanbag after you have indicated that the play has been successfully completed or the ball has been moved forward for the next play. Again, there's no yard markers. It's just 15 yards, 3 downs to get the 15, move to the next zone. The final 15 yards going into the end zone, you get 4 downs. Taunting and trash talking. There's always going to be some taunting and trash talking. We want that to be a minimum. We'd like to ask our officials to regulate that as you go through the game. If you feel like it's leading towards animosity between players, you obviously need to take a very aggressive approach. If you have to send a player out for a play, that might be a good suggestion to get them to get their cool. The offense must gain at least 15 yards in the first 3 plays, or the defense gets a stop. It means the other team is taking the possession over, back at the 45. 4-down territory occurs only after the offense proceeds inside the 15. All right, fighting. Any kind of incidences with the players involved with fighting would be ejected from that game for the first offense automatically. Ejected from the tournament on a second offense. If there's some kind of out-of-control team fight, the team would be asked to be ejected from the tournament as a final indicator from the field manager.
That's pretty important. We've had that happen for the first time twice in the last 2 years, and the coaches were very good about agreeing with us that it got out of hand. Really, if your teams are clearing the bench and coming out onto the field, that's a sign that we're gonna have a talk and see where we go from here, because we don't want to have that any part of this. It's a fun competitive event. So,
delay of game, equal loss of down and clock stops in the final 1 minute. 2 delays of game on the penalty in the same possession results in the turnover. That's important. Any dead ball foul on a play that results in the defense getting the ball and is unable to be penalized to the 50-yard line will result in loss of down. The defense, now the offense, would be starting to play on that 2nd down instead of a 1st down. during the last minute of regulation play. This is probably the most crucial time in the game. Everybody's trying to catch up. Everybody's trying to stay ahead if you're winning. The clock will stop like a regulation high school football game. On a first down, the head official will spot the ball when he deems it spotted and both sides are back on side. Then the clock will resume with a wind-up of the official's arm. If it's an incomplete pass, the ball is stopped. Or excuse me, the clock is stopped. If it's an out-of-bounds play or a timeout in overtime, the clock is stopped. There are no timeouts in regulation play. No timeouts in regulation play. All right, let's go to scoring. Touchdown's worth 6 points. An interception is worth 3. Okay, this came up last year. No points for any interception on a PAT. No points. It's just you stopped their series. Okay? Turnover on downs. If a defense stops a team after the third down, the defense gets 2 points. And that other team's offense would take over at the 45. In the PAT, you have 2 choices. 1 point from the 3-yard line. In officials, we would ask that you ask the coach whether he wants to go left, center, or right hash for that extra point. 2-point PAT is from the 10-yard line. If it's successful, one of the officials should also be keeping score. One of the 3. I'll let you guys determine that between the 3 of you. So one person would have the clock, one person would have the count, that same person would have the counting of the 4 seconds, and then somebody else would be counting the score as it goes through the game. And then again, just confer with the scoring table at the end of the game to make sure that we have the score correct. Okay, pool play tiebreakers. If we get a tie, which we have had, it's important that we have a way to break those ties. After the coin flip to determine first possession, teams will alternate 4-down series from within the 15-yard line. A winner is determined when one team outscores the other team during its possession. Note, each team gets equal opportunity. Each team will get their 4 plays, okay, unless you stop them on this first play. But each team has to score to win. Okay, so if there's an interception in an overtime game, Naperville Central throws an interception on the first play of the overtime, Sean has to win it at Naperville North by scoring. Otherwise, we're still tied up, and we go to a second overtime. Okay? If we go to a second overtime period after each team has had 4 plays, you get 2 points. Every team must try for the 2-point conversion. And we have had that happen as well.
Are we doing ties in pool play?
No. Regulation clock will allow for an extra point conversion attempt if the time runs out on the last score. Okay, so for regulation, we're back to regulation again. This did happen in our tournament last year. We want to make sure that we clear that up with everybody. On the last play of the game, ball's in the air, the horn goes off, the play is live. And if they score on that play, they do in fact, and let's say that play tied up the score, that team would get the extra point attempt with no time left on the clock. Okay?
What if it didn't, Coach? What if they were still behind after they scored? Would you have them run? If they couldn't catch up with the extra
Couldn't
point,
catch up, then the
okay.
extra points
I
doesn't mean anything.
So it's just like regular high school football.
Right?
I would say go to the extra points, because seeding we're going to do points against, points allowed.
So
Okay.
always give them the conversion.
Always give them the conversion attempt. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the criteria.
So, yeah, the other thing about that too, and I don't know if this is an appropriate place to talk. We've had a couple instances where a team's down by 1 with a couple seconds left, and they have a last play. They throw it out of the back of the end zone. The clock runs out. If that's the last play, that is a stop for the defense. They get 2 points and they win the game. So it's really important. This is built so we're not killing time. It's a competitive event, and that's just one instance that's happened a couple of times that we like to clear that rule up. If you're throwing it out of the back of the end zone and it's a 4th down or a 3rd down or whatever it might be, it's those points will count even if the time clock is run out.
That's very unique situation. Offensive coordinators, you got to throw the ball because the clock is still live and still running, and you have to complete the pass. Otherwise, you're going to lose the 2 points if it was the 3rd down play. So don't just spike the ball, and you must
explain what you were just saying. What happened? What did you say happened last year? What happened?
I think it was in our game in an overtime situation, and I think Thornton was playing and there was an interception early, and so they assumed that they had won the game because they intercepted it.
Got it. Okay.
So everyone thought they had won, but by the way the rules are, no, that didn't
points.
end the game.
Yep. Okay.
You got to win it by scoring.
Offensively.
Okay, by scoring offensively. Okay, time 21 minutes. All games start at the same time. Officials, injury considerations may reduce the amount of time between the games for those teams, but remember they're still on an independent clock. So if you think it's important to get medical attention for an athlete, go ahead and do so. And if we can get the athlete off the field, we'll try to continue to play. If we can't, we're going to have to stop play at that point until we get them taken care of. Pool and tournament play. The clock runs continuously during the first 20 minutes. Play can stop according to the rules of football during the final minute. There are no timeouts in regulation except for injuries.
And this is for referees. The clock will stop in overtime during a first down. We had 2 games with issues of that last year, and the clock will stop just as it would a regular first down in the last minute.
Okay, tournament seeding. Okay, the criteria and why that extra point is important to allow that team to go for it. It was one of your questions. Pool play overall record. Teams will be seeded 1 through 32 after Thursday's events for Friday's events. Friday is a double elimination tournament. All teams are back in. That's when all your linemen are coming to the event. It should be a great team event day on that day, Friday. Tiebreakers, criteria, head-to-head, overall fewest points allowed. Again, overall fewest points allowed as a team. Most points scored overall. Total number of successful extra points, which was why that extra point question was real important to get a correct answer. And then finally, if we're still tied, we're going to flip a coin.
All right, this is really important because we run into this almost every year, and if we're looking at a 1 through 32 seeding, and there is a group of 3 or more that are tied with the same record, these go out the window, and we go straight to points allowed, unless there's 3 teams tied that have all played each other, and there's an undefeated team. Unless you've played everybody else that's in that tied group, and you are undefeated, you will not jump anybody based on anything but points allowed, points against. Okay? Make sense?
That's the second criteria.
Yep.
Those are in priority order. Head-to-head first, overall fewest points allowed second. So defensive coordinators should make you happy. You get to score points, and giving up the fewest allows you to be the tiebreaker.
If there's a group of 5 teams tied and you're 2-0 within that group, it doesn't matter. You haven't played everybody in that group, so we go straight to points against.
All right, head coaches.
I have a rules question.
Sure.
Offensive blocking, does contact have to take place?
For offensive blocking.
What if a player runs interference down the field?
We would ask that the
gets
offense.
in the way of the defense.
Yeah, we would ask that the offensive players do not run down the field. That would be considered blocking.
And what's the penalty for that? Because there is no federation rule for downfield blocking. Spot?
Well, it would be First
the
of all,
ball is caught.
It's interception.
No, no, it's not interception's the play stops.
You're talking about offensive?
Offensive blocking.
Okay.
Plays, the ball's caught, takes off. His player that's running, whatever, is now continuing to run and maybe continuing to run by him. And in essence, he's keeping the defense from.
That would be a judgment call by you guys. That's not something that's going to be an easy answer.
I understand, but would it be then we could say there's the spot of the infraction, 5 yards,
That
5
probably,
yards more, and only and whatever the down was. If he made it past the cone, then he gets first down, but he gets a 5-yard penalty.
yeah, like I said, if you're going to call that one, it better be pretty obvious contact and blocking
Got it.
intention.
No problem.
Okay?
So a bubble screen run, you really can't run a bubble screen because you
No.
can't block it off.
Right. You'd be nuts to run a bubble screen or a rocket screen,
Yeah,
really.
I don't know if we touched on this too. I know the first year we did this, interceptions were still a live ball. They would run it back. On an interception, it's a dead ball pick. Okay, so there's no reason for your defensive guys to start running down the field the other way.
You guys have just played at Notre Dame. That was a rule that would be significantly different than in our tournament. Okay. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them on that right-hand side there. We'll get to them at the end. All right. Just for the coaches, alignment challenge events on Friday. You're going to check in with your kids. Take a team picture of the lineman as well. We got the wide-angle lens. We'll be ready to go. All right. You're in the same pools, A and A2. It's the same teams, top 4 teams. Bottom 4 teams will compete against each other at the events as listed on the sheet. All of this will take place at Wheaton Warrenville South. Okay, the events have been described in the rules for your lineman challenge. It is a team event. I will tell you it's a lot different than other lineman challenge events that might be out there. We want to see the top 5 competitors per event compete against the top 5 athletes from each school, and all 32 teams are bringing teams. So with the exception of two teams that I've already got 2 other schools that are bringing 2 10-man teams competing against each other. We will have trophies for the offensive MVP in the offensive 7-on-7. We'll have a plaque for the defensive player of the tournament. We'll have a team trophy for the team winner, and we'll have 3 awards for the lineman challenge, which would be the team champions. And the events would be 4 indoor events, 4 outdoor events, and then the grand finale of the tug of war at the end of the day for the lineman challenge. Again, maximum 10 participants, and each line coach has to register his kids with their medical forms at the beginning of Friday. 7-on-7 people, you're done with the medical stuff after Thursday. Okay? Again, Wheaton North, sophomore teams, you must register your 7-on-7 once you get there. Okay, indoor events, you can see, are scheduled throughout the day. Half-hour segments, 4 teams. And the Lineman Challenge Awards will be presented by our sponsor, Illinois National Guard. Scoring rubric for the Lineman Challenge, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 6th, 7th, and 8th points will all get 5 points. Okay? We will have a bench press competitor champion for most reps at 225. We'll have the best or the fastest 40 time for a lineman will be an individual award that we would nominate as well as coaches. Okay, very quickly, pool play matchups. This has been given to you already, but you can see you're going to play every half hour. Sometimes you will play back-to-back. Some games you will play back-to-back. Your field locations for this are Field 1, Field 2, at Wheaton Warrenville South, for Naperville North, Field 1 and Field 2. And These teams are playing against each other at Naperville North in the first matchup, Naperville North Batavia. And going the other direction would be Glenbard North versus Lincoln Way East. At my site, it'll be Wheaton South versus St. Charles North. And going the opposite direction will be Maine South versus Oswego East. At Naperville Central, first matchup at 9 is Naperville Central versus Glenbard West. Going the opposite direction, Addison Trail versus Schaumburg. Wheaton North at Wheaton North site. DeSoto, Mississippi is a school that's traveling up here, guys, from DeSoto, Mississippi. Their head coach likes to take a week trip with his team and his program. He's bringing his whole program up here. Sounds like a long trip for them, but he's excited to come up here and see Chicago. He's going to the Wrigley Field for a game with the kids, and they're going up to Great America, and then they're going to come play some football up at Wheaton North in pool play, and then the Lyman Challenge and the sophomore tournament. So they're bringing everybody with them. I'd like to welcome DeSoto, Mississippi to our tournament. Lions will play Huntley at Wheaton North, and then throughout this 5-game rotation here at your sites, you're going to get a couple of games where you're resting, and at that time, you know, that's where your tent comes in play. You want to get off your feet, hydrate. If you got any injuries or ice necessary, go to the trainers. And that's also when NCS will be doing their informational things that they need to get done. Okay? All right, at the end of the day on Friday, we will have a grand champion over here. And it'll be a double elimination tournament. Everybody plays in round 1 up here in the winner's bracket. And Kevin will do his magic with the seeding turning machine, I believe it's called now.
Yep. So and that's something, before he goes back into this, so for you guys who've been involved, you notice we've changed websites a couple times over the last couple years. So we're trying to find, this being such a unique event, we're trying to find the easiest solution as far as software and easy information for you, the teams, the people who want to follow you, so on and so forth. This turning machine has got a great product. We're figuring it out. We're learning it. For those who have not gone on and registered, and you can tell Andy this, I've entered all 32 teams, so I've taken that off of your plate. What I will do tomorrow or Wednesday is email each coach a link for you to go in and simply put in any information you want in. But we definitely need your roster, because those are the kids that we're going to be checking off waiver forms and stuff with too. The best part about this is the easy access to information. So if you go to the select7on7.com website and click on Illinois Qualifier as a coach, you can download the tournament app for this tournament alone. And what that does is that'll give you access to information that Ron and I and the staff decide is it pertinent for you to get, whether it's a weather delay, whether it's an injury on a field, if a field changes for some apparent reason, we can put notifications out immediately, and you guys will all get them. Live scoring as well, so you'll have access to that. What you need to do is go in there. We're asking at least the head coaches to go on there, download the app, and then follow your team. You can follow any team. If you want to follow somebody else's team, that's up to you. But you'll get notifications not only as your own team, but any that we deem that needs to be sent out as a group of information. So it's easy. It's awesome.
Do you want to talk anything about the 4 offsides, reporting scores?
No, I'll do that myself.
All right. Okay, guys, I guess we're going to go to some questions here that we've got lined up here.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is, obviously, the end for our organization is to get a representative that wins this tournament to Hoover. Naperville Central is representing the state of Illinois as a big Class state champion last year. You know, there's 32 teams here. My guess is as good as anybody else in this room of teams who would have interest if they end up winning this thing. You know, if you're playing well, come to me earlier than later and say, hey, you know, what's the next step? We have interest if we end up winning this thing and coming. That helps me out, get you the information you need. So that's the other thing. You know, we would love for the winner to have interest and let us know earlier than later that, hey, you guys really would love the opportunity to come down to Hoover and compete. and what we feel is the most competitive tournament in the country. So.
Okay, we take our first question from David. David, thanks for participating tonight in our webinar, and hopefully it was convenient for you to do this at your site. And by the way, we did take this suggestion from the officials last year about possibly doing this online, and I want to thank Chris again for setting this up tonight for us. Okay, David's question is, A takes snap from the 45-yard line, A1 passes downfield, and A89 catches ball and goes down to the 4-yard line. Is it 1st and 4, downs to score from the 4-yard line?
Yes.
All the officials in the room say yes, and we concur. That is correct.
Wait, what's that?
Pay attention.
Okay, sorry.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Thanks, David. Okay, defender. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. Okay, second question from Chris. Defenders may jam at the line, and it will not be considered blocking. That's correct. Definition of holding would be the question. Holding is grabbing and stopping the player. Jamming is contact at the line of scrimmage and press man. If you deemed it to be holding, then call holding. Thank you for your question. A1, let's go down to the next one down here.
Two checks for clarification and understanding. What's that? It's the same question.
Once he gets off to the side.
Oh, same question. Okay.
In this case,
Interception worth 2 points.
No, interceptions were 3.
An interception is worth 3 points.
Pool play or
But-
tournament play.
In pool play and tournament play, but in overtime, Chris, it's not worth anything. That is correct. Interception's worth 3 points, but not in overtime. Defense contact allowed anywhere. Okay? That's a question by Dennis.
Jamming at the line.
Jamming at the line is the only contact we're going to allow within probably about a 5-yard takeoff zone. I would recommend for the officials. And then anything beyond that,
by rule, it's 2 yards.
2 yards.
2 yards. Okay. I can live with that.
At the
2 yards.
Sean's a defensive coach.
Wow.
Is that what the rules are saying?
isn't that what the, or is that's the offensive line coming off the line?
Yeah, that's just.
It's the offense.
Defender's gotta have 5 yards.
Yeah, the defender should have 5.
Even in not a foul, they have
Our
5
rules,
yards.
our rules say that once the offensive player gets into a position where he can't block you anymore, now you can't hold him. Now you can't hit him.
You can't
know what I'm saying?
hold him.
You can't hit him now. He's past you. He's got his shoulders and hips by. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
oh,
It's not a
past
yard.
you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If
you
face to face.
Face to face is
We're not
different.
on television, unfortunately, but side jam, as soon as you're off to the side.
Pass.
now-
We
now
can be.
you're-
We can just turn
now
the
you can't.
That's normal. Yeah.
Now-
Okay,
now
that's
I
how we
can't
do it.
touch
I
it.
thought you were saying face to face.
Okay, here's a clarity and some good conversation here. Again, jamming is face-to-face at the line of scrimmage. As soon as that the offensive player gets past your hip or side, past the defender, then it is would be considered holding or defensive contact at that point.
Balls in the air.
Within 5 yards.
And then if the ball's in the air, yeah, how well I know that? You can lose a state championship game on that one. Okay?
You don't remember that, though.
Nobody remembers that. You're right. All right. No jamming of crossers. Is a question from David. Yeah, basically what you're saying is defensive guy can't stop the route of a receiver once the ball is snapped and action is happening, and that's
That's a block.
I would
That's
call
a
that, yeah, defensive contact. That would be not allowed, David. That's a good question.
Can't go further back. The ball will not be further back.
Is this from David or Kevin? Let's see. All right, from Kevin. The ball can't go any further back than the 45-yard line. That is correct.
The ball can't be placed further back than the 45. I don't know if he's saying, can my player go, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't want anybody going past the 45-yard line. The ball can't go. All right.
I think that might have come up with one of the rules. Any dead ball foul on a play that results in the defense getting the ball and it is unable to be penalized to the 50-yard line.
Okay, officials, I did attach a W-9 form to your list as an addendum way back when I gave the stuff to Bill. If that needs to be resent to you, we can do so, but I do need a W-9 form filled out for each one of you that are participating in the officiating of the tournament.
I don't believe we ever got it.
We never,
We never
the
have.
officials never got it.
Okay.
Did you keep last year's?
No, I did not. But I will, for all officials, well, if they have it, they have it. If they don't, we'll attach it. We'll attach it, send it to you, then bring it into the tournament for us, please. That's if you want to get paid. Okay? Believe me, organization of this thing has gone well past my patience. Video is working. I think we're done with our questions. Are there any other questions out there? All right, folks. Let's hope for good weather. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will send out the W-9 form to all the officials again. Again, everybody's reporting to the off-sites.
If they have questions, they can call me and probably call Sean.
Yeah, if you're going to Naperville Central, call Mike Stein. If you have parking or logistic questions for Naperville Central, call Sean Grendel. If you have any questions for Naperville North. Our parking lot's being torn up in the back. If you need any questions for Joe Wardinsky at Wheaton North, feel free to call Joe. I was trying to make this start to finish an hour. We're pretty close to staying on that time. I thank you for attending. We'll see you Thursday.
Great.